it is the journey, not the destination. And too often for me, being a type A, I've wanted to get to where it is I'm going so I can go to the next step.
In those spaces, I can have choice. And having a choice in these times where, like we say, life is hard and difficult and overwhelming, that's everything to me.
I don't know, it's almost like I take a deep breath and, oh, I feel so happy that I'm not really going anywhere. I'm becoming.
That takes you from agitated and anxious and stressed to, okay, acceptance.
There are 1,440 minutes in a day, and 1% of those 1,440 minutes, they did research on, I think, 1,000 people.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Life Happens with Barb and Michelle. I am Michelle, and of course, this is my mom, Barb, and we are so thrilled that you are back with us for another conversation about life and its most interesting and meaningful topics. Hey, Mom.
Hi, Michelle.
How are you going? How are you doing? How's it going being you?
Very, very good. I'm always excited to sit down and have our conversations, and yeah, it's all going well.
We have a great episode in store for today, which I think is one of your favorite topics.
It is.
The topic of a daily practice and why it's so important and why I really think it's been like the cornerstone of your life for sure, and how it's kept you who you are for so many different reasons that we're going to dive into. But really just what it means to have a daily practice and why you believe in it, I believe in it, and why we think it's so important.
It's everything, and we'll get into all the details of it. I know we've talked about practice, and we've talked about, why it's important over the past year of doing this podcast, Life Happens. But today we're going to dive really deep into it and talk about some of the nuances of it. And I'm very, very excited to talk about a new version of the practice that you and I have been working on.
Love that.
That we're going to be releasing in January. A course. So
many exciting things.
That kind of says it all of how important we think practice is.
Yeah.
And so I'm very, very excited to talk about.
Well, when I think of you, I think of practice for sure. I could think of a lot of things, but practice is up there.
It's really up there. I mean, I did write a book called The Practice, so maybe that's part of it. So it's everything. And you all know I went into treatment for bulimia 40 some years ago. And coming out of treatment to stay in recovery, it was really about what kind of structure can I create, which was really born out of, AA meetings and doing all of the things. So it's really my purpose. And I know you and I've developed this together, but I think it's our purpose, to really help people live their greatest life. And you talked in the last episode about dreams and making your dreams come true and really launching your book. Congratulations. And so excited. We're a week after the launch of Dear Friend.
Can't believe
which is part of practice, which is really part of the whole practice of how can we, live that best, happiest, successful, confident life that we all desire. So I'm excited today.
This book was, bred from the practices that you established with me when I was a child. And this book for me is a daily practice. Yeah. So clearly we believe in practice. Yeah. To start the episode, I would love to read an entry that I wrote in the book about the concept of practice.
I love it.
If you would indulge me.
Oh my gosh.
Mother.
It's a great way to begin.
I would say that you taught me so much about this. So if you're reading the book or if you've gotten the book, whenever I talk about practice, everything I learned about it is from you for sure.
Thank you.
The power of practice. Dear friend, you've probably heard the phrase, practice makes perfect, a common refrain we will tell ourselves to maintain diligence and discipline in pursuit of our goals and dreams. We've already debunked the myth of perfectionism, which if you've read the book, I talk about perfectionism a lot. So let's dig into the importance of practice. It might not lead to perfect, but our daily rituals certainly impact who we become. Life offers no shortcuts, and none of us is born knowing how to navigate the ups and downs of it all. To get to where we want to go, we have to work hard, put in the effort, and be willing to learn and grow through practice. Practice prepares us for what we want and moves us closer to where we want to be. It fortifies us with resiliency and gives us confidence through experience. Practice meets you where you are and takes you to a new destination, introducing you to a new version of yourself along the way. What are you practicing daily in your life? What practices would be helpful to add to your routine? How can you honor yourself by showing up for your practices today? Remember, the practices you adopt have the capacity to shape who you are. Thanks,
That's so
everyone.
good. Oh my gosh, Michelle, it could not be a more beautiful beginning to all the things that we want to talk about today. I think that one of the things for me about practice is, as I said, coming out of treatment, but one of the other things for me, what discipline and doing things, repetitive things and having a sense of a foundation of how I want to live my life. We have foundations when we're exercising. We have foundations when we do other things in business. If you're in a job or whatever it is, there's certain rules and regulations and foundations. But I like what you said in that passage in your book, that no one's ever taught us how to have a practice or how to set a foundation for living our best life from the inside out.
Right.
Like, how do we take care of ourselves? How do we become the greatest version of who we already are from the inside out? So not only is your book, a form of a practice, it really is, for me, it's been the best practice to begin the day. So,
well, like I said, there's no rules to life. There's no guidebook to life, and we're all kind of just figuring it out as we go. And I think from your experience and from my experience too, but obviously you've had more years than I have, you've experienced the benefit day after day, week after week, year after year of a practice. And that's why you believe so deeply in it, especially as you've gone through challenges and difficulties from recovering from bulimia, but also through divorces, through, different challenges in your life. Having that daily practice has really helped you maintain your sense of self through it all. And it's like having those years under your belt, you can speak from that experience for sure.
Yeah, it's the foundation. I keep using that word because for me, foundation, I think in the Bible they say you want to build your house not on sand because it'll crumble, but you want to build your house on rock or concrete or something hard, a hard surface. For me, having a daily practice, a daily life practice, that isn't geared toward accomplishing a goal or getting the next promotion in a job or any kind of there's no end of the rainbow kind of I've achieved this, now I can move forward. When I talk about practice and when you and I talk about the daily practices and the things that we teach, we're talking about a practice forever. Like, you're not trying to get somewhere, you're trying to uncover what is already inside of you. You're trying to uncover the love and the strength and the resilience that you were talking about in your passage that already lies within us, but it's been covered up with so many things that happen in the outside world. I'm two divorces, bulimia, and all the struggles of life anyway. Trauma. You don't have to have, and the traumas and all the things. So how do we still stay on the path of really loving and learning the most that we can about ourselves and becoming that greatest version without losing hope, without that feeling that this isn't working, I'm not good enough, or it's not working for me, but I see other people accomplishing it or doing it. And really what I love the most about the practice is that it is the journey, not the destination. And too often for me, being a type A, I've wanted to get to where it is I'm going so I can go to the next step.
Right.
And for me, this has been such I don't know, it's almost like I take a deep breath and, I feel so happy that I'm not really going anywhere. I'm becoming. And so we talk often in our work, and I think it's in your book, the ordinary moments of the day then do become extraordinary. I'm not looking for that great beautiful thing out there. I'm enjoying, as you talk about, the tiny joys that are right around the corner. And when we have a daily practice, it kind of opens our eyes to what is available in life, and we become more curious.
Yeah, what I think is cool about a practice is that it helps you to embrace the present moment and not try and speed past it, because you're handling the present moment in a way that feels more aligned or more centered or more at peace. And that comes through the practices or the habits that we repeat on a regular basis. And what's really cool to me that, we love when stats and research backs this up, but the University of Southern California did a study that consistent morning rituals increase resilience and help people recover more quickly from daily stressors. And so when you think about, we talk about a lot, and we all know that we're living in stressful times, that there's a lot of uncertainty and fear and all of those emotions about the world that we live in. And hearing this from the University of Southern California, consistent morning rituals increase resilience, which is huge, but also help people recover more quickly from daily stressors. And that says everything to me, because as we know and we talk about, you can't eliminate stress, you can't eliminate conflict or uncomfortable situations from life. It's a part of life. And this is the armor to combat against it.
I love that, Michelle. And it really what having a practice and understanding that these are the guidelines, or if you want to call them the little guide markers or posts, that we can't control anything in the outside world. We can only control what we can, and that is how we interact with the outside world, the actions we take, the choices we make. So it's so important that a practice helps us. It really is the guidebook. Mm-hmm. Like it's the guidebook on how we become the greatest version. And I will say that often. And you go ahead, because I want to talk about.
Well, you mentioned control.
Yeah.
And I would say you're kind of a recovering control freak.
Oh, for sure.
Someone who loves control.
Well, I thought I was going to have a practice and come out of treatment and life was going to be perfect, because I am a perfectionist, and be in control, and I wasn't going to have to worry or deal with things. Boy,
but for those who are seeking control too, Psychology Today says that people who start their day with a clear intention, which is practice,
yes,
are 3 times more likely to report feeling in control of their schedule. So
having a practice gives you all the control. Sorry, you really hit on a real, I don't know, just exciting topic for me.
And this is your topic.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to, we can't have total control over life, but it's like these are the things that we can pick up that can give us that semblance of control or make us feel more in control or more confident, so that we're not wishing away for it or yearning for it. We can be more confident and more, laser focused in what we're doing.
And I think the unexpected beauty of understanding that I can't control anything in the outside world, but I can only control what I can control. The unexpected beauty of having a practice is you get it. Like, I'll never forget the day that I could actually feel myself being okay with something that was happening in the outside world and not trying to control it. Like, that's a subtle shift that happens when you're living your daily life with a foundation and a practice for becoming the best version of you and not trying to get somewhere. Just unfolding, like I talk about peeling the layers of an onion in life, and just kind of continuing to understand that the more that I understand the control issue, the more that I understand that being in the present moment gives me all my power, the more that I understand I can't be there if I'm here. Why am I wasting my time wishing that I was there? Just all of those things, you start to get it. Oh, that's what all these great teachers are talking about when they say, be present. It's the only time that you have. Don't waste your time trying to be somewhere else. And I think if we kind of go backwards just a second, what I want to share is, you all know that, and we had, Brandon Bryant and Dr. Des on one of our episodes, and if you haven't heard it, it's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you talk about that episode all the time.
I do. Well, you and I love
Dr.
sports.
Des and Brandon, you have to come back.
Yes. You and I love sports. I mean, we're very big sports people. And I think one of the things, I've always loved sports, but one of the things that I truly now
Coach Barb
love about sports is, as I started developing my own practice 40 some years ago, it's so apparent that if you're an athlete, if you're a musician, if you're anyone trying to hone what it is your deepest desire is in life, especially if it's a physical, like learning to play the piano, like you learned how to play the piano, and doing a sport, you know what it means to practice. Like, you don't have to be talked into practicing. If you want to be a good athlete, if you want to be that athlete that succeeds, you have to practice. If you want to be a pianist, you have to practice. So it was such a unbelievable gift for me to go in and speak to athletes, or go in to speak to people that already know what it means to practice.
But even too, like with doing this podcast or doing speaking or writing, that's a practice too. I mean, I think about, before we even started the show, when it was just audio only too, about how daunting it felt to come on to a microphone every week and speak, or how would you know what to say, or how would you know how to engage or interact or not be nervous. And everything is practice, because once you do it once, you get a feel for it, you learn, you do it again, you learn something else. And like literally everything that you do is a practice in your jobs, you know. Even when thinking back to my first corporate job, when I would have to answer phones a lot, that really made me nervous, because I'm a millennial. I don't love being on the phone, and I don't love talking to people I don't know on the phone. But, you know, having to do it, practicing, getting on the phone, that became a little bit easier, and I got used to it. So thinking about just how powerful practice is in essentially every aspect of our lives. And the distinction, and I talked about it in the entry of my book that I read at the beginning of the episode, that we're not practicing to be perfect. The desire or the goal of practice isn't to become a perfect version or to achieve perfection. It's to just give experience. It's to give us comfortability in a situation. It's to give us space to grow and to learn and to like open new doors of where we can go. And I think so much of practice, especially for people who are competitive, like athletes or musicians or you, it's easy for us to think that, and even, you know, when I started meditating too, oh, I'm going to become a meditator that can have all of these amazing experiences. It's been so helpful for me to release the expectation or the attachment to the outcome and just focus in on the practice of the practice and being present to what I'm doing without hoping that something good or whatever, however you would rate it, but no attachment to what comes from it.
Well, I think you just said something like extraordinary. First of all, we're practicing practice. That's all we're doing, and that's the beauty of it. But second of all, what you said is so profound that yes, we're trying to get somewhere. We want to become, you know, we want to be able to handle stress better. We want to be able to be more resilient. We want to be able to be calmer in the face of traumatic incidences or things like that. But the thing that's so beautiful about just having a daily practice is you start to see the benefits instantly. So you don't have to wait until
but they're subtle.
Very subtle, very, very subtle. And you start to feel it. So you don't have to wait until the very end to be able to achieve the goal or to achieve the beauty of what it means to practice being a pianist and go on the concert stage. Those kinds of things. You start to feel it. I'll never forget the one time I can be, especially in the early days, I can be very, because of my need to go, I can be very impatient. I could have been very impatient. I could be very impatient. I've worked and I can see the benefits of it, and it doesn't mean that I'm perfect.
OG Barb Knows Best listeners will know the time demon.
Exactly. And so I think it's not, and that's the beauty of it. We're not trying to be perfect, as you said. We're just trying to be, I love the fact that when I can be patient in a situation where usually I am impatient, I feel great about myself. I don't beat myself up and say, oh, Barb, you know, you thought you had this mastered yet. No, because that's not the thing. It's not the thing to be perfect. It's the thing to notice and recognize, wow, I got this. I was actually patient, you know, when something happened that I usually would have lost, you know, lost the patience, but also been ruminating about, oh my God, I'm going to be late, or, you know, having that feeling of the pressure from the stress. And I want to share a quote because this really helped me in my own practice, but it also helped me in wanting to share with all of you. And I've been using it for decades. And it's from Martha Graham. And she says, practice means to perform over and over again in the face of all obstacles, some act of vision, of faith, of desire. I mean, just let that settle in for a second. I mean, it's everything.
Yeah. Can you repeat it, actually?
Yeah. Practice means to perform over and over again in the face of all obstacles, some act of vision, of faith, of desire. So I just got chills. So when you think about that, perform over and over, it's something we're going to be dedicated to doing, even if it's small. I think that's the beauty of practice too. It doesn't have to be something that's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. And in sports or in becoming a musician or any of those practices, sometimes it does mean a whole chunk of your day.
Mm-hmm.
This is not what we're talking about. The tiniest little consistent, which is what you said in that study, consistent practices can garner beautiful benefits in our lives for
In the
health,
face
for
of
stress.
obstacles. Because
So in the
I
face of
think
obstacles,
that's such an important point, because if I
life is
think about
never going to.
meditation or any of my mindfulness practices, I will always have an excuse not to. There will always be an obstacle. I'm too tired. I'm not in the mood. Anything. I have to go. And I love that part in that quote, that you are facing the obstacle and choosing to be diligent to the practice. Because, like you say, from James Finley, be faithful to your,
Yes.
starting over, be faithful to your practice, and your practice will be faithful to you.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you shared that. And that's the whole point. And I think we can be faithful to it, and we can overcome the obstacle, not just of I'm tired, those obstacles that are there probably often, but even obstacles in the outside world. It's too hard out there today. Oh my gosh, we're in the middle of the season and I know traffic's going to be really bumper to bumper. Oh, do I really have to go into work? All those things that we say to ourselves, that we have these obstacles in the outside world as well. And then I love active vision. So we have a vision of who we want to be. I mean, I think that is the thing in life. Who do we want to be in life? And can we be the person that we really truly desire and of desire? Can we be the person that we desire to be? And if there's a practice or a way that we can do that from the inside out, it's not contingent on anything that's happening in the external world. It's truly me with me. Mm-hmm. It's like I'm making a decision and I'm taking up a practice, or I'm taking up an oath, kind of. Like, I am doing this for me and for me only. It's not to get a prize. It's not to make someone else happy. It's not to get a raise. It truly is because I want to be a person that feels confident, that knows in the face of all obstacles or hardships that I will survive. And not only maybe will survive, probably I will survive, I will thrive. It's like having that extra feeling that I can do this. And we talk a lot about that, like, you can do this, you've got this. Mm-hmm. Yes, we kind of know we do. But when there's a practice, you start to really, just like with working out and the muscles, and we've talked about, really working the muscle in the brain and really working the muscle in the mind. And I know that I have this because I got the experience of it and I've been practicing it and I've seen the results. So we start to recognize I've seen the results. So when my mind starts to throw doubt in, I have no doubt. I saw that I was patient when that bridge went up, and I knew that I was going to be 5 minutes late for that meeting. And I just sat there with a smile on my face, knowing that I can't control it. And do I want that aggravation to upset my whole day?
Yeah.
So,
and I like that the practice is like an anchor into who you are and
yes.
what you want. It's not defining you, but it's reminding you of your desires, of your goals, of what you wish for your life, of your intentions. And I think so much, like I started at the beginning of this episode, when I think of practice, I think of you for sure. But even some of your practices, like when you taught me about repeating mantras way, way, way back in the day, throughout the day, like that I equate to you immensely as a stress relieving tool and as a tool to be present. Of course, meditation as well. But those are, when I think of you, I think of those as your anchors that bring you back and ground you in reality and strengthen you in the moment. With the holiday season right around the corner, I've been getting my home ready for cozy gatherings, festive dinners, and quiet nights by the tree. From cookware to hosting loved ones to soft, warm linens to little touches of decor that make everything feel so joyful, Wayfair truly has everything you need to make your space feel special this holiday season. Wayfair's Black Friday sale starts October 30th, and the deals are so good you'll want to start early. You can shop all month long and find up to 70% off everything home, no matter your style. I've personally picked up some new holiday decor this year, beautiful ornaments, cozy decorative items, and a few fun touches for every little corner of my home. From the living room to my backyard, I even found a super cute holiday cat bed for Shar. You all know and love her. With Wayfair's fast and easy shipping, everything arrived quickly and totally hassle-free, just in time to make my home feel super festive. What I love most is how easy it is to find the pieces that feel like me. So whether you're looking to refresh your kitchen, your guest room, or your outdoor space, Wayfair truly has something for everyone and every pet. Wayfair has everything you need for your living room, outdoor areas, bedroom, and more. So don't miss out on early Black Friday deals. Head to wayfair.com now to shop Wayfair's Black Friday deals for up to 70% off. That's WAYFAIR.com. Sale ends December 7th.
We are creating a practice. We're creating a habit. We're creating a routine, any of those words that resonate, that we are able to really strengthen ourselves from the inside out. And we start tapping into that resilience, but also we tap into that deep knowing. As you beautifully say, and thank you so much that, I am the epitome of practice, because I know I have that deep knowing that is what's helping me and guiding me and really been the foundation of the life that I live today. And it doesn't mean I don't have so many stresses and so many hardships and so many sadnesses and so many things that have happened in my life, but they don't knock me out. Mm-hmm. They don't take me completely out. They might take me out sometimes with my last divorce, maybe took me out for a few months. It's not like we're going to be perfect, as we said, but like I never gave up hope. And I had the faith that this too shall pass, which is one of the affirmations, one of the mantras that you're talking about. I had repeated that so many times in my life, this too shall pass. Maya Angelou's quote, every storm runs out of rain. Like I believe all of that because I've said it for 40 years when I've gone through the most difficult times of my life. So that's the benefit of practice. And what I love is sharing a little pieces of this today, Michelle. Michelle and I have we've tried to distill this into a place where it can be doable.
Mm-hmm. I was going to ask you if you would talk about rigidity in practice. And I know you're going to talk about this concept of the practice, but I think especially for people like you who are type A, who want to be perfect, and I can relate to, when you talk about practice, sometimes we become our minds go to, I have to be perfect at the practice. And if I don't do it exactly right or exactly the same way every time or exactly as it was prescribed to me, if, whatever the practice may be, that we're going to be doing it wrong and that we're going to mess it up. So can you just quickly, before you go into what you were going to go into, just talk about how you've kind of broken down, because I know you used to be very rigid with your practice and very strict and disciplined, which has its purpose, but just talk about your journey with that a little bit.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. And that's why we did this whole practice that we're going to talk with you about, because it's a very fine line. I think that's the issue. It's a very fine line between being rigid and being disciplined and not being too rigid. And it's kind of like the Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Yep.
It can't be too hard. It can't be too soft. It needs to be just right. And just right is not prescripted. It's like just right is your just right. As long as you're adhering to a practice and having the desire, as Martha Graham said, the desire, and you're taking the actions. So discipline is a part of it, but rigidity really can sometimes be a hindrance. Mm-hmm. For me, it could have been a hindrance. And so by rigidity, I mean, I have to do this no matter what. Like you could call me up and say, Mom, I've got a flat tire and I don't know what to do. And it's 10 o'clock at night and it's dark. And I could say, sorry, honey, I got to do my practice, figure it out. That doesn't work. And that somehow kind of, for me, what it's done in my life is it kind of erodes the feeling of I'm doing my practice from the inside out to learn to live my life calmer and more confident. I'm no way am I going to be able to really do my practice and not be thinking about you on the road by yourself at 10 o'clock at night in the dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it kind of, it's kind of bypassing, I think, a little bit of what a practice really is and what it is we're actually trying to do. And so in the face of that, I would say, okay, I'll be on my way, or whatever it was I would answer. And then I would do my practice later.
Right.
So there's no time. You talk about timelines a lot in your book and in your work. Like there's no specific timeline. We just know that the practice is important and we do it. And that's why I love this practice that you and I came up with. So I like to think of it as we need to be disciplined. Like the practice is a practice that we do every day, and it needs to be sustainable. I've started over the past maybe 15 years, use this word, is it sustainable? Can I embark on this practice and sustain it? Because it, as you said in that research, and all of the great teachers have told us this, and you'll be able to see this for your own practice, for the benefits. I, for one, have seen that everything we do, even if it's a little bit every single day, is huge.
Yep.
If we do a huge amount one day every 10 days or 20 days or once a month, you don't see the benefits as often. It really needs the discipline of and the continuity of doing it a little bit every single day, because you're retraining your mind, really. You're retraining your psyche. You're telling yourself, this is a practice that I'm doing every day. I'm committing to doing this every day for my self-care, for my self-love, for the foundation of how I want to live my life, how I want to be in relationship with people, with humanity, with nature. This is really about me with me. So it has to be sustainable, and we have to be committed to it. So I didn't use that word, and I really mean committed, sustainable, a little bit every single day. So what you
Which
and
leads to the 1% practice.
which leads to the 1% practice, in looking of all the things that you've done in your life as you've move forward in your practice and what you do, and you've written your book about a practice that is really kind of the cornerstone and the bedrock of your life. And me with my practice over the past 40 years, I've looked at what is it about practice that can give you the benefit. I don't want to say instantly, but I think it kind of is instantly when you start to practice like every
It can
day for a little
shift
bit.
a moment.
It can shift beautifully said, Michelle, can shift a moment. When I'm in chaos, I start repeating an affirmation. I start repeating, this too shall pass, or whatever it is.
Or just close your eyes and breathe.
And close your eyes and using the breath. So the 1% practice, there was a study, there's research that's been done that says there are 1,440 minutes in a day, and 1% of those 1,440 minutes, they did research on, I think, 1,000 people. If you dedicate 1% of that day, 14 minutes, to an internal practice of self-care, of foundation for learning how to be more resilient, learning how to take care of yourself, it has the power to transform the other 99% of the day. And so what I take that research as meaning is it has the power to ground you. It has the power to give you the confidence that you're looking for. It has the power for you to say, I got this, Barb. Don't let the mind tell you you can't handle this situation. Take a deep breath and begin again. So as we've talked about, how can we teach this 1%, this 14 minutes, I never found in the research of whether it meant you got to do 14 minutes at one time. For my practice, it doesn't mean that. It means, how do you weave in 14 minutes throughout the day?
Right.
How can I do a minute here, a minute there, 2 minutes here? How can I weave that in? And what I found the benefits tremendous about doing that, and I think you can attest to this with your book, and starting the day with that 1 minute, it has the power to ground you again. It has the power to, okay, let me take a deep breath, because we all know the breath is our life force. We wouldn't be alive if we didn't breathe. So I think what it does is that those 14 minutes connects us to ourselves. It brings us back in, okay, you got this, Barb. Feet planted firmly in the ground. I can go take this next step. It grounds us. It gives you the minute of using your breath, or as you said, using a mantra, or using your affirmation, or sitting in a meditation practice for a minute. It gives you that grounding of, okay, I've got this. Okay, I can be patient in this situation. And as I said earlier, it helps me see, wow, Barb, you don't have any control. So stop trying to waste your energy changing things that you have no power to change, which is that serenity prayer. Help me see the things that I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I think those are the things that you start to see as you weave this minute here and minute there, that you start to recognize, I'm gaining the wisdom to know the difference. of what I can control, what I can't control, and how powerful it is for the transformation happening inside of me, from the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
And I have more faith, and I have more confidence, and I have more hope. That I think faith starts to take over for the hope, because you really have grounded yourself in the faith that I got this. Whatever life sends my way, it might be really, really, really difficult, but I'm ready.
And I've noticed too that it really like takes the edge off of life if you can remember,
I like that.
like you said, to stop or pause, breathe, and begin again, or stop, breathe, begin again. Thinking back on so many instances in my life where I've been caught in the heat of the moment, or quick to knee-jerk respond, or to say things that I didn't necessarily mean. The pausing, the taking the breath, the weaving in a minute here or a minute there can take the edge off to where I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't want to say that, or I don't want to do that. I want to do this, and have the clarity and the discernment to choose your reactions and responses to life rather than being at the mercy of it. I feel like for me, that's been one of the biggest benefits of the option of choice when I'm in the 1% practice, when I'm pausing to breathe, or going to the bathroom to close my eyes, or sitting in my car for a few minutes, or, after I wake up, closing my eyes again. It's where in those spaces I can have choice, and having a choice in these times where, like we say, life is hard and difficult and overwhelming. That's everything to me.
You just said the $1,000,000 word, really, choice. And when I think of when you said that, it brought me back to the Viktor Frankl quote that we say often, and we can put it in the show notes because I'm going to paraphrase it. But basically, he's in a concentration camp for 3 years, and he says this powerful teaching in Man's Search for Meaning that, man's greatest happiness truly lies in understanding where we have the choice and where we don't have the choice. And his
between
quote,
stimulus and response, there's choice.
Beautiful. Between stimulus and response, there's a space, and that's where our choice lies. And then he goes on to say at the very end, the choice we make leads to our happiness or not. And
or
I'm paraphrasing.
Or
Leads
adds
to our
to our
happiness
suffering.
or adds to our suffering. Beautiful, Michelle. And I think that's, for me, that changed my whole life, that book, Man's Search for Meaning. It changed my whole thought process about everything that I do in life, because he was in a concentration camp and could say that whatever choice we make, no matter where you are in life, it either leads to your happiness or it can lead to more suffering. And I think that is the most profound thing I think I've ever read. So it's not about becoming perfect, but it's also not about becoming rigid, but it's also not about having an expectation that this has to happen when I repeat a mantra, or when I repeat an affirmation, or I go in the bathroom and breathe. It's about trusting and just having the hope and the faith that I'm going to go in and do this because it's going to reset my nervous system. And I'm sure that's where there's so much research about how breathing and stopping and beginning again and intercepting those negative thoughts with a true positive thought. There's so much research in that. And the biggest research that comes out of that is that it resets the whole nervous system. So I always go back to the bridge. I live on the other side of the bridge, and I have to cross over a road, over a bridge, in order to get to wherever it is I'm going. And so I always say that because I'll never forget the first time I was sitting at the bridge, and it was up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I said this a little bit earlier. I knew I was going to be late, and it didn't bother me. I just sat there and I did exactly what you said you'd go into the bathroom and do, or you could do all throughout the day. I just took some deep breaths. And actually what happened, and this is the difference in this particular episode event for me, was I actually was grateful. I had so much gratitude because I wasn't rushing anymore. I wasn't stressing anymore. And I had so much gratitude that I could just be. And knowing that I had no control was even a blessing. Like, I'm not responsible here in this moment. I had no responsibility. I had no aggravation. I had no stress. And I thought, this is what bliss is. This is what joy is.
Wow.
Yeah. When you know, and I think I started this episode out talking about, you get a deep knowing. You kind of tap into that. I know that I don't have control. When I know it, and I truly know it, not in the brain, but in the heart, in the stomach,
And
in the heart.
acceptance.
Oh my gosh, I have chills right now. The bliss in that moment, for that split second, is worth everything. It's worth having the practice of doing these things. It's like, this is what these practices are made of. So it's as simple. You already gave some of the examples of a minute here and a minute there. It's as simple as before you get out of bed. Close your eyes again when you wake up and just say, thank you for the gift of this new day. Like setting that foundation, of being present, of being grateful. My whole day of sitting at that bridge, having that gratitude, I remember going home thinking this was the best day of my life. And I hadn't won an award. I hadn't gotten a raise. I hadn't.
Well, also, too, though,
this is the best day of my life.
You can see the difference of if you spent let's say 5 minutes being stuck at a bridge.
And it's not even, to be honest with you.
Well, however long it is. But checking your phone, anxiously scrolling, being irritated, being agitated, thinking about, I'm going to be late. This person's going to be mad at me. Whatever the spiral of thoughts in comparison to whatever practice you did in that moment to close your eyes, stop, breathe, and begin again.
Yeah.
That totally shifts the tone of the rest of the day. That shifts the tone of the moment. That takes you from agitated and anxious and stressed to, okay, acceptance. I'm going to be late. It's okay. I'm going to let them know I'm going to be late. It's not a big deal. All is well. And then you can see like the domino effect of one versus the other. If you had been agitated, maybe you would have gotten stuck at another light and it
I'd have been stressed.
Added on and added on. Like it just, you can see how that simple shift can shift everything else.
Everything.
And it's not hard and it's not a lot. You just have to do it.
Yeah.
And you have to be not rigid, but diligent with yourself and choose to do it. Like, for example, with the bridge, there are so many times where if I get stuck at a bridge, I'll take it as a time to look at a text or go through emails or whatever. But you can also have the choice to connect. And that's really where the power is, where I'm going to take this opportunity to fill myself up.
It's self-care.
Yeah.
It's a very small but incredibly powerful, because it's what you're saying. It's a shift, and you can feel the shift. And I didn't go on my phone. I didn't text them to say I was going to be late. I really wanted to be in that moment of just being. And when I got there, I said, the bridge was up. I apologize for being late, and no other explanations are necessary. You start to understand this is where I think living life with a little bit of ease starts to come into daily life when we have a practice. And why it's a practice, and you started to say it and you really led into the idea of why it has to be a practice, is because we forget that we have the choice.
Yeah.
And so the practice is reminding us every day, oh yes, I'm going to breathe. And I'm going to begin again. I'm going to breathe and just be, because I have no control right here. So that's the importance of a practice, of a daily commitment, not a rigid one, a daily commitment of when I'm feeling, when I use it all the time. If I'm feeling stressed, I will stop and pause. But then you can just use it when you don't need it. When you're bored, I'll tell you one thing I've started doing is putting my phone in the trunk. How often do we sit at a light, or we sit at a bridge, or we sit somewhere and we're on our phone, and we're on our phone, and we're on our phone? And I think about the day I'm old enough to not have a phone for a very, very long time. When you were in school, I never had a phone until you got into high school, I think it was, or maybe high school. Mm-hmm. So I thought to myself one day, the phone is too alluring sometimes. So you think this is what a practice does. You know what? I'm putting the phone in the trunk. I'm just driving, 10 miles or wherever it is I'm going. I don't need a phone. And if I need it, I'm going to get out of my car and go get it. Like there's those little things that start to come to you because you start to value your ease.
And you start to listen to yourself. Like, I mean, that has never crossed my mind, but it came into your mind one day and you listened and you said, yeah, I'm going to try that and see how that goes.
And I think it's
because, listen to yourself.
Yes. And I think it's because I have a practice for all these years that I'm starting to value the ease, and my mind was saying, where else can you find these little places, this minute here, the minute there, where you're not feeling like you're at the mercy of something. And I think for the phone, I said this to you recently, I feel like I'm too attached to my phone.
Yep.
I'm too attached to the news. I'm too attached to social media. I'm on my phone too much. So instead of beating myself up and saying, oh, what's the matter with you, Barb? I don't do that. I said, okay, so what can you do, Barb? Are there times when you have your phone that you don't need it? And are there ways that you can use it in that 1%, where I can just say, okay, I don't need my phone right now. I'm going to put it away. you start to get more creative and more curious about how can I bring more ease and more strength and more peace into my life, which starts to build that inner practice of confidence. And I think that I just wanted to wrap up, and we could go through some of the benefits if you want to share some of the benefits. But I just want to say it's the byproduct of having a practice where it's your self-care, it's your self-love, it's the foundation of you becoming the best version of who you already are. You're uncovering places in your life. I know I said this already, but to uncover how impatient I am. And I'm in a practice for 40 some years. I mean, to uncover these things are huge, but just know it's a daily 1% practice, like a minute here, a minute there, because if you do workout, or if you are exercising for your body, and trying to become the strongest from the body, from the outside, you can't lift 1,000 pounds at one time. And I think there's a friend of ours that did that quote.
Mark and Angel.
Yeah.
Chernoff.
Yeah, you can't lift 1,000 pounds all at once, but you can lift 1 pound 1,000 times. So these are the little things about the 1% practice that we're sharing with you, that it can be done.
Can you give us an example of what your 1% practice looks like?
Yes,
Okay.
I'd love to.
Great.
So my 1% practice consists of meditation, like sitting with myself in a quiet space. And it can be 1 minute, 2 minutes. I've been doing it for 40 years, so mine is quite longer than that. But please don't start that way. So it can be, my practice has meditation. My practice has using my breath all the time. Whenever I said it earlier, whenever I'm feeling a little bit nervous or unsure or scared or fearful in situations that I'm not feeling like I'm feeling grounded, I will pause.
You used to say a lot back in the day that you would use mindfulness and your mantra or an affirmation during transition times, like
Yes.
going from meeting to meeting, or even like walking through one door and walking into another. That, those are the moments where maybe we tend to go look at our phones or mindlessly talk to someone, using those small moments in between as mindful moments.
So my schedule is I wake up in the morning, and before I get out of bed, I close my eyes again and I say, thank you for the gift of this new day. I'm doing it for 40 years. Then I get out of bed. Before my dog passed away, I used to walk my dog. I might have a cup of coffee. I might do a couple little things, no external things though. I don't get on my phone and I don't go out, call a friend, or I don't do any of that until I have my meditation, until I sit down in my quiet and use my breath, use an affirmation, use a mantra to just sit there. And when my mind starts to wander, I bring it back to the moment with my breath or with an affirmation. And then I go about my day. And then I go out into the day, and that's my grounding. That's my foundation for my life and for everything that I'm going to do for the day. And then as the bridge goes up, or I'm late for a meeting, or I'm at the grocery store buying all the things that I need to buy, and the line is, 6 people long. What do we usually do? We say, oh my gosh, why is the line so long? Why don't they have enough people working here? I immediately, I go in to take a deep breath. And just take a deep breath. This too shall pass. An affirmation, a mantra, and just take a deep breath, breathe again. And I'm usually pleasant by the time I get up to the cashier. She'll say something like, or he'll say something like, oh, you have a cute smile, or whatever. I had that happen recently. That's why I'm saying it.
I love it.
And so I do that all day long. It's like you said, if it's a rough day and I feel like I really need to have some space to myself, I might go into the bathroom. I use that. I share that a lot with people because I don't think we think about that. Just go, you have the power to go someplace to be by yourself for a minute.
It's an easy break.
It's an easy break. And transition times, if I'm pulling into a meeting and I feel like that it has the possibility of being difficult, I will sit in my car for a minute and just breathe and just repeat an affirmation or repeat a mantra, or just breathe, just connect with my breath. Feel my chest rise on the inhale and come back into my body on the exhale. And then after the day is done, before I go to sleep, I'll get into bed and I do a reflection for about 2 minutes. No longer, because you don't want to ruminate over what you did wrong or what didn't go right. Just a couple minutes, and I reflect on the day. How did it go? Where did I learn something? Where did I feel joyful? What are the little tiny joys that I saw along the way? And then I allow that day to stay in the day. I will repeat a phrase, thank you for the gift of this day. I leave this day in this day with the intention that I'm going to wake up the next morning, in a brand new day.
I love
So
that.
that's the 14 minutes throughout the day that has the power, the little shifts, Michelle,
to transform it.
To transform your day and to really help you start living that life of your desire from the inside out, for your own self-care and self-love.
I love it. And I love that you're giving us the permission to make it our own, to make it fit into our already busy lives, to make it digestible and easy and approachable, and especially to release the rigidity and the perfectionism. And so I ask all of our listeners and our watchers, what would a 1% practice look like for you? Where can you start to weave in a minute here or a minute there of mindfulness or of presence or of peace? And can you imagine how that might transform your regular everyday life? And let that vision or that idea fuel and encourage the practice going forward.
And it doesn't have to be complicated. Truly, truly. You don't even have to think about it. You just have to say, I want that. We've talked about a little bit of the benefits, the idea that it helps you manage stress. And by managing the stress and having a practice of what do I do when I start feeling anxious, you're starting to cultivate more patience, more empathy, and all the things. It really helps you have more courage.
Yeah.
Because you're really believing in yourself and having the faith that I've got this. And so don't, just start. Truly. Just start and don't complicate it.
I love it.
Yeah. Thank you for
thanks,
this.
Mom,
Thank
for
you
sharing.
for dedicating an episode to, the power of the practice, the power of a practice.
Well, thanks for sharing the 1% practice with us and really guiding us into what a practice can look like for each and every one of us and giving us, again, the permission to make it our own.
You have to make it your own. I'm glad you said this
But
again.
I think a lot of us have learned or have been told that it has to look a certain way or be in a certain technique or following or look like someone else's, and that gets us stuck sometimes. So giving us the freedom to choose and to make it our own and to make it sustainable and make it so that we want to do it. And so thank you for sharing this with us. And yeah, to our listeners and our viewers, let us know in the comments if you've started this practice. How does it work for you? What does it look like? How does it make you feel? Because it's experiential for us. We can tell you, but the benefits will come when you do it. And so let us know when you do it. And we can't wait to hear.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Mom. And thanks, everyone, for being with us this week. Hi, friends. As you all know, my first book, Dear Friend, is officially out, and I am so happy and so excited to be hearing from all of you who have purchased it, who have started reading it, who are about to read it, and who are loving it. It has been such a joy to hear from all of you, and I'm so, so grateful for all of you. If you haven't already, you can order this book wherever books are sold. It is 365 daily love notes from me to you to give you motivation, compassion, encouragement, and so much more. I can't wait for you to read it. Thank you so much for your support.